We got two new fun guests for you guys. They have a borderline great idea, maybe even not borderline, maybe just great. It's something that I had hoped that it existed, and it turns out it does exist. So, and they're in studio. Justin Anderson and Christina Forrester joins us now, and they have started, Christina, you in particular started the Christian Democrats of America.
That's right.
Okay, so welcome.
Thank you.
So when I first heard the Christian Democrats of America, it made me think of Germany. Don't they have Christian Democrats, some sort of political party like that?
Yeah, there's a European Christian Democrats.
Right.
That's why I added of America, so there wasn't confusion.
Yes, and plus you get to say Christian Democrats of America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking it back.
That's right.
That's right.
So, all right, it's not a political party, so what is it?
It's an organization, and we are trying to bring back Christian values. We're trying to show that the religious right does not own a monopoly on Christian values, and especially in the age of Trump, they have no right to that label of Christian voters, to the Christian vote or Christian values.
It almost sounds like you guys are making Christianity great again.
I like to think so.
Okay, I love this because I do think it got hijacked. I guess, Justin, let me ask you, do you know how it got hijacked? I mean, because it seems like the Bible is predominantly about, especially Jesus' words are about helping the needy, the poor, and others.
Right.
But somehow it seems like if you listen to the evangelical right wing, you'd think the only thing the Bible mentioned was abortion and gay people.
Exactly. Those are the fights that we do fight. We kind of do actually know how it happened. We actually, on our podcast, What Would Jesus Pod, we talked to some of the people that helped build the 700 Club and actually hijack the religion and turn it into a voting bloc. So we actually know exactly how it was done, and now we're just trying to get some help undoing it and bringing back values and integrity to that voting bloc and delivering it back to where it should be.
How mad were you guys when they took the title Pod Save America? Were you like, damn it? No, well, you can't say that. You're good Christians. Okay. But let's talk about that more, Christina. So, was there a time in this country when religious people were more across the spectrum, liberal, conservative, or evangelicals were more liberal? Did that time exist? When was it?
Absolutely. At the turn of the century, if you look at history, it was the evangelicals, big revivals, and accompanied with the big revivals, they were preaching a social gospel. And that's really what the gospel of Jesus Christ came down to, is helping the least of these. And you didn't see a revival come into town that they weren't talking about some kind of social justice at the same time. So this has been something from the 80s it started with the Reagan administration, the moral majority, and there's a whole history. We go into it quite extensively on our blog and our podcast and social media. It's been a hijacking and a manipulation of religion for the purpose of.
So the original Christian leaders and potentially even Jesus were social justice warriors?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Jesus was a progressive.
Absolutely.
He did things that men were not doing in his time. He was washing women's feet. He was traveling around. He was
eating with tax collectors and sinners.
He was taking the Pharisees to task. There's a lot of things that Jesus was a social justice warrior.
Yeah. So he was certainly anti-establishment. No,
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody could dispute that. So how did they do it? Was it that they went to evangelical leaders and they're like, I don't know, you want to be conservative? Or did they pay him? Was there a plan? How did it happen?
Yeah, it's been a slow, there's a lot of propaganda in the religious right. And we were just talking about this outside, actually. We hear it's like a broken record on social media of, well, what about Democrats are against abortion or for abortion? Democrats want to kill babies. Democrats are for, same-sex marriage. They're against God. They booed God. I mean, it's like this constant stream of propaganda. And we've seen this for years. I founded the organization in 2006, and I did it because I saw represented in politics and in the media, there was only one voice for Christians, and that's not the voice I heard growing up as a pastor's kid, as a worship leader, youth leader. I didn't hear that voice. The voice I heard was one of love and acceptance for all people and fighting for the least of these and the poor.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So is the media complicit? Because it seems like the right-wing evangelicals get an enormous amount of attention, and left-wing preachers, which exist, of course, left-wing religious leaders get almost a complete, I don't want to say ban, I don't think it's a conspiracy, but completely washed out. Like you never hear it at all. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, this is something that has frustrated us to no end for the last decade, because anytime you see, here's the Christian response, it's gonna be some wacko on the farthest fringe of the right, and now it's gonna be a Trump supporter, it's gonna be someone on the farthest end, religious right, that's supposed to be speaking for all Christians. And we've been asking for years, trying to step up to mainstream media and to print media, say, let us have our voice, because there are millions of Christian Democrats. We just need our voice.
And what do they say? No?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes we.
Do they bother justifying the no?
It's mostly been kind of hitting a block wall. It's been difficult to, but hopefully that's coming down, and hopefully they see a need for the representation, because we have a whole segment of our society that is not represented right now.
Yeah. So Justin, look, I'm part of the things I'm worried about is that they're using Christianity to push hate. But if I were you, and I'm not Christian, I'm agnostic. But if I were you, I'd also be concerned, mad that they're perverting the idea of Christianity, and for young people that don't hate, and which is luckily the great overwhelming majority of young people, they're going to push people away from Christianity.
Absolutely, we find that a lot. People reach out to us that say they've left their church and they haven't been back in 10 years. They couldn't stand what was happening. One lady reached out and said that the new Christianity, the new Christians basically hijacked her whole church and ostracized people that didn't believe with them. And we have thousands of these stories. People reach out to us all the time about this type of stuff.
I get an email or a social media post at least daily, usually about 10 a day, from people saying, I've lost either family or my church, or do you know of a church I can go to? That's why we started a safe church directory, and we call it a safe church.
Oh, wow.
Because people are literally afraid, especially if they're LGBT, are they gonna be accepted when they walk into a church, or is it a Trump church, unfortunately?
Yeah, so I want to give the website in case you guys want to reach out to them if you're watching. ChristianDemocratsOfAmerica.org, and there it is. And so, Christina, what do you hope to do with the organization? Is it, do you have members, and then what are your activities, et cetera?
Yes, we do. We have members nationwide. We have a Christians Against Hate and Christians Resist movement. So those are both the hashtags: Christians Against Hate, Christians Resist. And within both those movements, we have a lot of various activities. You can go on our website and go to join the movement and check it out. We have a robust Christians Against Hate group on Facebook that's very active. And that's really turning into a resistance movement. And beyond that, it's really providing a voice, giving people a community, and electing Democrats that support our values too.
Are you guys a PAC? Do you also contribute to Democrats or no?
Not at this time. We do endorse. You endorse candidates, yeah.
I see.
And we provide a values voters guide to talk, so that people can talk to their churches and open up that conversation a little better with other Christians. Say, hey, I'm voting Democrat, and this is why, because of my values. I'm voting Democrat because of my Christian values.
Right. So let me ask both of you. Look, I think that the most important thing by far is, what do you emphasize? Do you emphasize the love, helping the poor, or do you emphasize the divisive issues? So on that's easy. You guys are choosing love and bringing people together and helping the needy, and that's amazing. But when you do get down to abortion and gay marriage, how do you answer those people when they say, oh, well, aren't the Democrats pro-choice, et cetera? I don't even know what your views on abortion and gay marriage are. So how do you answer that?
Well, with abortion, it's safe, legal, and rare. And we have an entire platform on abortion that anyone can go look at, but really bringing it back to what does pro-life really mean? Because a lot of people that talk about being pro-life, really they're just anti-abortion, and they're not looking at a real solution to reduce abortions. Under Democrats, abortions have been lower rates than with any other presidency under
Yeah.
Democratic presidents. So.
Yeah, I partly ask because again, I'm agnostic, but I've read parts of the Bible or a lot of the Bible, and in Numbers, the Bible appears to be pro-abortion. It talks about give your wife a toxic potion, and if she miscarries, that means she cheated on you. Well, a miscarriage because you gave her a toxic potion, that's an abortion. But you know, everybody's got their own point of view on it, and you're saying at least under Democrats there's less abortion, right?
Yeah.
Justin, how about the issue of gay marriage?
Well, gay marriage is an issue that God is about love, and if there's a love between two people, then that love should be recognized. Absolutely, no matter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't say anything about same-sex relationships per se. There's one passage I believe in that Paul wrote that has been mistranslated basically since he wrote it to say that it's two men, but it's really the translation should be man to younger man.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that we can all agree on.
Yes.
So, okay, we're out of time. We could do a whole nother interview talking about how they hijacked Christianity, because that is amazing how effectively they did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
they know how to hit the hot button issues.
they really
Over
do.
and over.
They know how to do it.
All right. Well, ChristianDemocratsOfAmerica.org is the website, and they are literally doing God's work. So thank you so much, Christina and
you.
Justin, for joining us.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate it. And thank
much.
you for setting up the organization.